Hey everybody, how's it going? Forgive me for any wind noise, and also actually for any noise coming from the bird box next to us. We appear to have some chicks in our little bird box. It's insanely windy here, which is why there's going to be a load of wind noise at different times, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm really sorry. But I got some really cool news. My brand new bike has finally arrived this week. Forgive the no top, but it's here. It's here. It's finally here. I've been waiting for this with so much anticipation. There's a little bit I need to do to it to get it all set up. But I'm genuinely so excited. I don't think new bike day ever gets boring, does it? Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, how many new bikes you've had. It's just exciting. It's just fun. I guess if you're a bit of a nerd and you've got a bit of a hobby, that's just how these things are. You don't really see it much like that, are you? Right, let's build the bike. Don't worry, I'll get some clothes on in a minute, but I just can't wait any longer to get this thing out of its box. Very well packed. Thank you, James Round. James Round is our team mechanic and pays meticulous attention to detail. How about we speed this up a bit? Through axles, so much better. Right, we're obviously missing a couple of things, like a saddle and a pair of pedals. Well, it turns out I haven't put a shirt on, but anyway, a lot of people kind of pulled me up on the fact that I use low profile wheels when I'm training and in some races. And I've got perfectly valid reasons for that. But to appease the people that thought I should be riding with deepers, deep section wheels in there, how about we have a little look at what I've got in store? My greatest victory of the day, loads of reusable zip ties.
My bike is smaller and then Daddy's bike is bigger.
The most bottle cages.
I got none and Daddy got 2.
And why do I have 2?
Because it's a new bike.
No, it's because I sometimes ride a long way. And you don't ride very far, do you? You do laps of here.
No.
But you're fast, aren't you?
Super fast.
Right, here we go. Maiden voyage. Things I'm most looking forward to. I just put my theory of stiff through axles to the test. It'd be nice to see if there is a difference between 2 bikes while sprinting. What do you think of the sticker job? I think I've done all right. Genuinely quite excited about this. I'm a little bit tired. I actually woke up at 5:30 this morning because I was so excited. Came downstairs, got all the decals done. But, right, here we go. Come on.
Don't drop it. How's recording?
Where do I start with my thoughts on my new bike? It's everything I kind of imagined it was going to be. So everything the old bike was: playful, fun, fast, smooth, enjoyable. But then it's got this added stiffness, this extra direction, sort of, when it comes to changing direction down these little lanes. It just feels that little bit more direct, and I'm 100% convinced that's because of the through axles just being that much stiffer with a quick release. It's always been a theory I've had. But now that I've got 2 bikes that are identical, I finally get to put it to the test properly. I just think it's amazing. So the only place I can manage to find any shelter from the wind is down behind my little pallet fence. So I've weighed the bike. All right, the weigh-in of truth. Wake up the scales, Weight Watchers special, cheers Weight Watchers. Put the bike on, over the plank, and hope that it reads something like accurate. This one is 8.5, and that's with the heavier 105 pedals. That one's 7.5 with the Ultegra pedals. Bearing in mind, this has got phenomenally deep wheels on it, and actually I left my computer on there, but that's only a few grams obviously. So 8.5 kilos, 8.4, 8.5 kilos on my bathroom scales, which overread possibly. I think that's pretty good. Not a massive weight penalty for having discs and big wheels at all. So on that point about a weight penalty, I genuinely believe that the added stiffness from the through axles more than outweighs 900 gram weight gain between the 2 bikes, coupled with the fact that obviously these are deeper wheels. What is it they say that a disc brake penalty is over a rim brake? Something like half a kilo. Honestly, I genuinely think you gain more performance than you do lose in the weight. And also, for me personally, I could probably lose, well, I could certainly lose 5 kilos right now to race weight, and that's going to make much more of a difference than just a few grams on my bike, especially when you consider those grams are actually going directly towards making the bike faster, more direct, more confident to ride, and just more capable. I'm going to continue to shield myself from the fence, from the wind with the fence. All right, so I've got a few little things to put onto this bike. I should probably weigh it again then, really, in the interest of fairness, shouldn't I? Sprint shifters. First up, the right button. I'm gonna set it up so that goes into a higher gear at the back, so when you're sprinting, click the thumb down, that'll go from the 13 to the 12 to the 11, so on. Press the button and watch the rear derailleur at the same time. Right, there we go, one sprint shifter neatly tucked in under there. Everyone's going to run them somewhere different if you're a sprinter, but on the whole I like to be able to reach them from the hoods. It's just another place to change gear, that way if you're eating or something, on the whole, no matter which hand you got the bars, you can still reach both levers, you know, both shifters up and down the cassette. Nice and high up in there. That's to get into a lower gear, so into 17, 19, 21, and this one going into a higher gear. Other things that I've had to do to the bike, we've got a 2020 St. Piran decal kit which has gone on. I've left a few orange highlights though. That's because I like seeing the colour orange. I've mentioned before, my wife is Dutch. Just seeing the colour orange, one of my favourite colours, probably because of many happy memories in the Netherlands at different times. Colnago Concept. There should have been a long St. Piran sticker there with a little bit of tartan here as well, but I didn't really want to go over the top of the chainstay protector, and also, again, a little bit of orange. I'm told in coming weeks there should be a Ceramicspeed pulley set to go on there. Get rid of the dog's hairs a minute, sticking to the factory grease that comes on the chain. But otherwise, it's all ready to go, ready to ride. So there are a few other changes that I made since I first got on that bike. I put the non-negative stem on there, so the standard stem, and I've put a 5mm spacer underneath. I was thinking about playing around with that just because I like to change things. So to start with, on this one, I've taken the 5mm spacer out. So you notice both spacers are above, whereas on this one, okay, the stereo tube is slightly longer anyway, but there's only one 5mm spacer underneath. So before I ride this one next, I'm going to remove that one. For the purpose of this video, I've thrown on the first saddle I could find. I couldn't find my other Arione. I think I've actually lent it to someone. So this is off Micah's mountain bike. Thank you very much for the sacrifice, or whatever you want to call it. So the Ultegra pedals are on here. That's because even though they're lighter and probably the better pair of pedals, they're just quite worn out. So my feet feel a little bit sloppy in there. You notice that one does indeed have the Ceramicspeed pulley wheels. Crankset is exactly the same across both bikes. For the purpose of this video, please do ignore the fact that both wheels are different. These are our sponsored wheels, and I've asked permission to use these in a video and any pictures because at the moment we don't have any disc hubs for these wheels, so we're waiting on those at the moment. But when they come, we'll then have exactly matching bikes, and I think that'll look really, really cool. You'll also notice I have gone back to using a computer on the screen. That's partly because I like doing different routes, and actually watching the routes on the watch is a little bit of a pain, so it is better having a screen on a head unit. Identical frames, all apart from the fact that one has discs and one's a rim brake bike. You'll notice actually the biggest difference is probably in the forks. So if you look at these forks here, you'll see they flare out slightly lower down, and there's quite a distinct kink there. I'm not sure if that's going to come up particularly well on the video. And yeah, this is what these forks look like over here. Now these, they're quite beefy. certainly when you look down here, and this is where the biggest difference on a disc brake bike comes from, the fact that this is just, it's just solid, it's so much more direct, which means the handling's better. These forks are slightly straighter, but they're also a lot beefier. You'll notice that there's a lot thicker tube there, or the diameter of the tube is a lot bigger. Again, quite close there. It is slightly bigger there as well. You do have to be really pernickety looking at this, and of course you don't have any rim brake bosses either. And then again, beefed up down there, and that's all for rigidity, because the braking forces are in a different place. You're going to need that strength somewhere else. Weirdly though, the chainstays aren't so dissimilar. I know I'm not using the best close-ups here, but I'm doing the best I can. The only place where these are beefed up is again towards where the rear brake is. That's because of the forces back there. On the whole, I actually really think a disc brake bike looks that much neater. I just prefer the lines of a bike with disc brakes. And certainly back here with the 140mm rotor on the back, you don't really even notice it's there from a distance behind the cassette. That's one thing that's interesting on this bike. So I've got a 160 rotor up front, and normally I'd be really happy with a 160 rotor in the back. But we've got a few disc brake bikes in the team, and they all have 140 rotors in the back. So in the interest of making wheel changes or anything like that, or the fact that we can all share each other's wheels that a little bit easier on race day, assuming it's going to happen soon, we've got 140 rotors all around on the back. And actually, for braking performance on the road, you're not really squeezing the back brake that hard. All the force is coming through the front, as with anything when it's decelerating. Head tube's the same. Cables route internally in exactly the same way. All of this is exactly the same. Yeah, it really does just come down to the dropouts and the stays. I think it'd be really cool to get your thoughts. Obviously, these bikes are going to be dividing people's opinions. Some people do prefer the technology of modern day discs and through axles, and I completely understand that people prefer rim brakes as well. I mean, there's always a place. That's what's so good about opinion, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and judge the bikes too thoroughly today, because I've only ridden this one for about 90 kilometers at the moment. It's just unfair to jump to a conclusion in that period of time. What I'd normally do is get out to my favorite descent and really pick up on the intricacies of the handling and things like that. So yeah, lots of things in the coming weeks. Also, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on our custom decals, and if you prefer the original orange. Obviously, I've kept a few highlights as I mentioned before. A few little subtle things that are different. Of course, this being Di2 and hydraulic rather than just Di2, the shape of the lever is ever so slightly different, but it actually means, because of the hose that's tucked in under there, it's that little bit flatter, so you've actually got a little bit more surface area, which helps spread the weight on the palm of your hand. So that's ever so slightly more comfortable, which is quite nice. And then just the fact that brand new bearings. I mean, the other bike's got Ceramicspeed bearings, but this just feels so smooth. You can't replicate a new bearing feel with the new fresh grease that's on them from the factory. Other things, it's just so direct. Like, I think I've probably already put in this video just how much of a difference I think that the through axles make. It just wants to go. Like, you go through a corner, you stand on the pedals, and you just feel yourself surge and accelerate forward, and I'm convinced that's purely down to the stiffness in the axles. I'd love to be able to test that, so when I get exactly the same wheels, everything will be completely identical. But yeah, it's everything you expect it to be. It really is. It's just a lovely bike to ride, and I'm very happy with it. A couple of other things that I've noticed, just the lack of effort you need just to pull the levers. It just feels so smooth. Like, the brakes are smooth on the other bike, but it's just effortless when you're pumping fluid through a hose. I'd love to be riding along talking to you today, but it's just so windy. I don't think you'll be able to hear the audio, so I figured I'll just have a quick pause. It's a honking great headwind down the Foss Way, which brings me on to my next thing actually. Just over there is the actual Foss Way, which is a gravel path, and I've been thinking to myself, oh, I can't wait to get my new bike with discs, wide tyres. I'm going to take it straight down some gravel paths just to be away from the traffic, but there's no way I'm taking that off-road. It's completely up to the job, but it just looks way too nice to be doing that. It just seems a little bit wrong to do that. Just go for it, nice tailwind. Yeah, it just wouldn't be right, would it? It's been so easy to set this bike up, and I'm so pleased that I did spend the time taking all those measurements the other day. It's just made it that much easier to get everything spot on the first time. The fact that I'm using the same saddle, the same bars, shoes, pedals, all of that, it just makes it that much easier to transfer everything across position wise. If you're sat there wondering what on earth is going to happen to that other bike, I do now have two Colnagos, and it's an incredibly fortunate position to be in, incredibly privileged. It's going to be my spare bike. It was always going to be a spare bike this year anyway. It's just that circumstances changed, and St Piran had to deliver me a bike a little bit sooner than any of us expected, which is amazing that they could do that. I'm going to look after that bike. I'm going to be using it still. I really want to try and compare them I'm not going to be able to get any scientific data. I don't have the same wheels in both bikes, but I'd like to get some, you know, sensation data, you know, how two different bikes feel. I'd like to try and portray just how the axles transform this bike. I keep on banging on about the axles, don't I? You know, just see if I can come up with some tests, descending tests, some acceleration tests, that sort of thing, just to try and portray the differences between the two bikes. And then finally, I'd like to say an absolutely massive thank you to everyone that's made it possible. It's beyond my wildest dreams that I get to ride bikes like this, and it's all because of the hard work of a lot of people around me. So everyone that's doing all of the behind the scenes stuff for the team, the things that you don't see on a day-to-day basis. Which brings me on to my next point. If you haven't checked out the shop for a little while, please do, because we do now have our kit there available for pre-order, and we've got a few other new items. So if you are looking for new bits for your bike or for yourself, some bits of clothing, t-shirts, hats, that sort of thing, it is well worth checking out the store. Not only does that really help support myself, it also supports the team and everyone doing all the hard work behind the team, and then all of the young riders are directly going to benefit from your custom as well. So please do have a little look at stpiranprocycling.com/shop. I'll put a link in my little description down below as well.